Today we are going to be making some landscapes. As we get started today, you're going to need your white piece of paper and a pencil. We are going to first start by doing 2 practice landscapes on the back of our paper. You can do that by making 2 rectangles. I'm writing practice just so that I remember. If you want to leave space for a third, that works too. Once I have my rectangles, I am going to start by creating my landscape. Remember, we need a foreground, a middle ground, and a background. I start with that horizon line. I add in a tree of some sort. You're able to decide where your landscape takes place and the style of tree you would like. If you need to look up some other types of trees, you are welcome to do that. Here I am making a palm tree, but you might not want to do a palm tree. So this is where it is a great spot to practice different styles of trees to see which works best for you. My palm tree is in the foreground, so it's the biggest. Now I'm adding some things within my middle ground, some sort of waves and water features, and then my sky, my background, I'm adding some small clouds behind and even a sun. If I wanted any other features within there, I can add those in. Once I finish my first landscape, I need to try a totally other type. Now, I realized in my first one, I forgot to do a building. So I would have to go back and add some sort of building to practice one. Now, once I finish my practices and I'm happy, I turn my paper over and I start on the front. I start with that horizon line, so it separates. The horizon line is where the sky and the ground meet. Next up, I'm adding in my tree because that is in my foreground and it will be one of the biggest things within my picture. Now, I'm making sure I'm doing things large. Nothing is smaller than 2 finger spaces, especially for that big part of the tree. The branches are about a finger space because we are going to be adding more details in next week. So I make sure things are large. I'm adding in where the greenery of my leaves for my tree will be, and I continue creating. I will go ahead and erase any extra lines that go through things as I work. Now I'm ready for my middle ground, or more pieces of my middle ground. I am adding some hills to that space. The further away they go, the smaller they will get and merge into my background. Now for my background, I'm adding some things within my sky, either a sun or a moon, even some clouds there. I've decided to add some sort of water feature and a rock, give it some waves in my foreground. The last thing I need to add is some sort of building. I could add that building up towards the front of the middle ground, or I can have it further back in the hills in the background, which would mean it would be much smaller, which is where I'm going to do mine today. I'm going to create a small hut, and I will show you in just a few minutes a few other styles of houses or buildings that you can add. Now, you are not limited to what I show you. I'm just giving you a few other options. Don't forget, how can you get to that building? You need to add a road. Let's see some other types of homes. So I'm going to show you that hut again. It starts with 2 vertical lines, a wavy line for the top of the hut, and a rounded piece Do not forget a door to get inside. Next up, we have a teepee. You might be going glamping and be staying inside of there. It is like a triangle. Next up is an igloo. You start with a rounded door, a straight line, and then it's like a hill. Now, just because it is an igloo doesn't mean it needs to be in cold environments. We are doing funky landscapes. Lastly, I'm going to show you a house at an angle. So I do the front part of my house, the side of the roof, and I have it come down. Press lightly as you work so it's easier to erase. Do not forget a door. You need a way into your buildings. Once you've created your buildings, remember the roads. How can you travel to them? If you finish adding everything to your picture, you may grab your Sharpie. Just double check that checklist so that you have everything. Once you're ready to Sharpie, put something underneath your paper. I'm using a messy mat because Sharpie does bleed through. Put the top on the back and go over top of your pencil lines. Work carefully as you do this and erase any pencil lines as you finish. There we have our landscape.